Hello and welcome to this very unusual edition of Off the Cuff. Unusual because our guests today are two people you become familiar with only very recently. But these are very important people for us in India. And to tell you what, they are not exactly Indian. They are Americans. They are the people who know more about the Trump administration and Donald Trump's way of thinking and approach to India than almost any other Indian does. We have Mr. Shalabh Kumar, who is the chairman of Indian American Council of Donald Trump, but also a member of the Trump transition team, member for finance, and we have his daughter Manasvi. Manasvi is the ambassador, India ambassador for Republican Hindu Convention. But as I said, she's somebody we are more familiar with because she was our 2010 Miss India. So Manasvi, Shalabh Kumarji, thank you very much. And I am today joined by Mahrukh and Inayet, my colleague, who will be helping us conduct this conversation.
Thank you for having us here.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit about you and President Trump. When did you first meet, and how did this great equation come about?
Well, that goes quite some time ago. I've known him for a while, but my first interaction with him was in 2012 presidential election, where he played a significant role as a supporter. I was, of course, supporting Mitt Romney, and I happened to meet him, drew a little friendship from there, and it's continued on from that point on.
What was your first meeting like?
Well, the first real meeting, that was a long meeting. That was on July 9th of 2016. That was set up by former Speaker, father of the modern Republican Party, that's Newt Gingrich. And unlike some other or most Indian Americans, we are focused on policy. So Newt Gingrich had set up this meeting, and we had not decided which presidential candidate to endorse or support at that time. So he had asked that go have a meeting, and there's no time limit. Don't come back unless you have all your questions answered. And so we had a long discussion on every policy issue, where he stands on everything. And when we found, I determined that he is the closest that matches the 4 core principles of Republican Hindu Coalition. That is free enterprise, fiscal discipline, firm family values, and firm stand on foreign policy. And we saw that it matches, and he's very open. He's like a businessman. It's not like a politician that you don't get straight answers to questions. You know, every question I asked of him, it was a very clear answer. So, you know, it wasn't, you have to second guess.
What's the first question he asked you about India?
He did not really have to ask me a lot of questions about India. Initially, what he wanted to know was that, you know, we have met before as to what exactly you have in mind, what your role is, and we are discussing more Indian Americans, and particularly as it was represented to him that I am chairman of the Republican Hindu Coalition, so he wanted to know about Hindus, and in fact, we discussed about Hindus a fair amount. You know, that was our discussion, and India, he had some comments that, you know, he's always very proud of this city itself because he has investments here in Mumbai.
A couple of landmarks here, yes.
So he's always talking about that, and he says, I know Mumbai, great people. He'll say great people. And Indians, he just generally said, India is a very nice country. I like investments in India. So that was his general comment about.
But Mr. Kumar, you were convinced of Donald Trump being the right candidate. How hard was it to convince other Indian Americans? Because Indian Americans have largely been Democrats.
That was actually a lot of fun. And my daughter Manasvi here, she'll tell you, because she was with me in most of these events. We held almost 200 events, average attendance of 200 people. And Manasvi, you want to tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's difficult when you don't have facts. When we were speaking to people, we had facts. We were approaching them with policies and what his policies are, how friendly they are with India, how in sync they are with our core values, core principles. By the way, when he first met us, he was like, oh, Hindus are very peaceful people. So, so when we approached people with facts and figures, it wasn't difficult at all. And my father, he's a tremendous speaker. And when we would address crowds, sometimes 90% people would be Democrats. And when we would educate them and make them aware, they would all turn. They would all switch, and they'd be wondering why they were not Republicans at the first place.
So no, actually, it's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult, because I found it to my delight to convert. I really love to have, at this point in time, give me a Indian American, Hindu American, who is not a Trump supporter. And I find it rather challenging. So let me see over there if within 2 hours I cannot convert him to a...
But sir, why only Hindu Americans? What about other non-Hindu Americans?
Sure.
Are they Trump supporters?
I knew this was
Of course, because we are Republican Hindu
should come,
Coalition. And, you know, this is also something which is very interesting. This is something about in Hindu blood that is somewhat shy about being proud of being a Hindu. I really I'm a little critical of that. I'll tell you what.
I'm a Hindu. I'm very proud of being a Hindu. And I'm very proud of my colleague being a Muslim.
No, that's okay. You see, when we have Republican Hindu Coalition, it was framed, it was formed, patterned after Republican Jewish Coalition.
Right.
So there is a very powerful organization which is essentially controls at least all the conservative policy in the United States. No candidate for president, no candidate for governor, no candidate for Senate or congressman can win without the endorsement, support of Republican Jewish Coalition. And we were organized after the idea was born, after I attended their annual conference in 2015,
So
April
your
of 2015.
inspiration was the Republican Jewish Convention.
Coalition. So see, when we discussed with them, I was invited to join their leadership. Was probably the first non-Jew person that was invited to join Republican Jewish Coalition. And we started to discuss, there were about 500 businessmen, we started to discuss the demographics of Hindus in the United States. And it's amazing when the people find out what the demographics are. Republican Jewish Coalition, your number of Jewish Americans in the country are about 5.5 million. Hindu Americans are 4.2 million. And Hindu Americans are not just Indian Americans. There are lots of Hindu Americans that are not Indian Americans. They are from Caribbean, and they are from Africa, they're from, and even from South America. So that's, when we say Hindu American, it's a broader term.
So you prefer to be called Hindu American rather than Indian American?
Because we will be excluding so many Hindu Americans. If I just said Indian Americans, what are we going to say about Caribbean Americans? Caribbean Hindu Americans.
What happens to Muslim Americans, Muslim Indian Americans?
Sorry, I'm going to butt in. Hinduism is so beautiful. It's very secular. It's a way of life. We don't say a particular god or follow a particular book. It's a way of life. It's so beautiful, you know. And we're very, very secular. In fact, our head in India is a Muslim. So we are extremely secular. We're extremely inclusive. You know,
So you're not excluding anybody.
we're not excluding anybody. We have people from all religions in Republican Hindu coalition. It's just Hindu is a very broad category. That's why we choose to.
Our co-chairman, Speaker Newt Gingrich, is a Christian.
One more question. Charulata has a question.
With all of this conversation that I'm listening to, do you think it may be a better idea someday for America to drop all prefixes completely and adopt just one word, American? And do you think that might help a party, be it Republican or Democrats, but do you think it might help in the long run?
Not at all. I will be totally against that. In fact, there was one person who tried, I will not name that person, a prominent politician who was a candidate for president also, tried that path and miserably failed, because America is an amalgamation of people from all over the world. So if I'm an Italian American, I'm very proud of being an Italian American. If I'm a Jewish American, I'm a Catholic American. I'm a Catholic Italian American. Okay, I'm very proud. So everybody should be very proud of their heritage. This is what the country is. There is no division as a result of that. There are lots of other divisions in the country on the philosophy. The divisions in American society are not based on these things. America is a very, very different country.
Will you explain Donald Trump to us a little bit? Do we worry about him? Do we be happy that he's there? Is he as nutty as he's made out to be? Or is he a normal person inside his very,
I think
unique hair?
I will have Manasvi answer part of from a humanistic side,
Right.
but I'll tell you also, which I've gone on the record by making some statements about Donald Trump, so I'll go on that side. So, because she knows him as well as I do, she's probably attended at least 20 personal meetings with Donald Trump. And so as a human being, she can answer that question.
I will only tell you my impressions. I see a leader who's very daring. I see somebody who will say things as they are and not a politician who will be absolutely perfect and say the perfect words. I think he's very young at heart and he's very energetic. And sometimes, I often joke about it that if there's ever, there could be a competition between our Prime Minister Modi and President Trump on endurance. So while we were campaigning, where Hillary was attending like say 2 events a day, President Trump, then candidate Trump, was attending like 5 to 6 events a day.
Mr. Modi can do 15 or 16.
See,
that
that's
I
why I
guarantee
said
you.
that there could be competition where endurance and stamina is concerned. And also I see somebody who connects with people. Like I've seen him addressing and interact with small groups, medium-sized groups, and rallies. Particularly our rally that happened on 15th October, there were about 9,000 Hindu Americans, and he was connecting with them. Like the crowd went crazy. So I think these are my impressions.
But having said that, you also mentioned Mr. Modi. Do you see a lot of similarities between the two, and are there any differences? Because a lot of people in India would want to know that hopefully there are some differences between the two.
I don't know why you wish that, but no, I see a lot of similarities. But first, I'll answer Shekhar's question. I've gone on the record stating that I truly believe as a Hindu, as Hindu American, and having been taught in my life,
As a son of India who's become American.
Okay, so I've said that it's quite probable he may, that is Donald Trump, may usher Ram Rajya in the United States. I didn't say India, but I say in Ram Rajya in the United States. Now that is a very deep statement. I had to think about it for a week before, sleep over it overnight and take my long showers. That's why I mostly invent, and that's why I think deeply when I take long showers, hour and a half shower. So
After that, I hope Nick Kristof wrote a whole article on Ram Rajya.
So yeah,
New
so
York Times.
why I say that, United States had drifted in the wrong direction, not just only in the last 8 years, but let's say the last 10 to 15 years, it has drifted in the wrong direction. And it needed a businessman, it needed a non-politician, it needed somebody to straighten out his path. Otherwise, the civilization we know of, the American civilization, was going to go down the tubes. Otherwise, I would say, I came to United States in 1969, and the country was headed towards India of 1970s. And certainly I can't stand to see that. And, that's why, of course, I threw in 100% of my support with him. But Ram Rajya, in what way? You see, the country's policies had been essentially hijacked by lobbyists. So Washington was getting governed, and this is not just Democrats or Republicans, let's call it establishment. Establishment was run by lobbyists. That is, advocacy is fine, but the impact of lobbyists had gone so much that there was really no policy that was being made, legislation being made, which will address the concerns of Americans. And that's what actually changed. That's why if you look at the map of victory for Trump, the whole country is pretty much red.
If I may interrupt you, that's for America. But what convinces India that he is positive for India? And can you, as an Indian, can you trust Trump?
Absolutely. See, first of all, what you see is a couple of recommendations I'll make to people, and I'll say that to Indian government as well. He had a 12-minute speech on October 15th. It was the first time he's talking about any other country when he addressed the October 15th rally of Hindu Americans there. Read that speech and read every single word. Otherwise, you try to speculate. What would he say? What would he do? Read that speech and you will know what he will do. Because he is true to every word he has given in any other campaign speeches. His first executive orders, first actions in the first 30 days are 100% totally consistent with what he campaigned on. When I say lobbyists and what the feelings are of American people, most politicians, establishment politicians, what they do is they will talk in the campaigns on terms that will please Americans. Then when they go to Washington, D.C., they change. And here is a fresh blood that has come into the country that is same on a campaign and same in execution. Now, coming to India. So here's, notice a few things very carefully, okay? And I must say, we had a significant role to play in framing his speech, the 12-minute speech. It was reviewed. His key policy advisor, that's Stephen Miller, also on immigration policy, Jeff Sessions, Senator Jeff Sessions, he was there. And so his whole team was there. Stephen Mnuchin was there. So the speech, every single word of that was reviewed and then finally approved. And that's the speech he gave. He only deviated from that a little bit, but I'll tell you that too. But here's what he said. We love Hindus. We love India. As a, when I go to the White House, Indian Americans will have, Indian Americans and India will have a best friend in the White House. He praised Modi. He says, as a great prime minister, who has reduced, has attempted to, or something like that, he said, he has reduced bureaucracy in the country, moving in the right direction. And so, and also he addressed the issue of Mumbai terror. He addressed the issue of cross-border terrorism. So he addressed all those issues, and again, you look at his actions and his campaign speeches. They're totally consistent.